this one because we had breaking news almost seconds after the entire NCAA bracket was revealed on what is my favorite sports day of the year. We get the NCAA men's basketball tournament bracket, and we can start figuring out who's going to get where and who's going to go far and who's going to win it all. Tom Brady announces on Twitter that he has decided after 40 days of retirement that that's enough, and he is back to playing for a 23rd year. What? Unfinished business. And, of course, that has just about broken the internet. And I find it humorous because his wife, Gisele Bündchen,
What?
the supermodel, has been wanting him to retire for years. He finally does it. And about a month or 2 months of retirement is all that he has, and he's going back. So I can't imagine she's too thrilled about that. It is funny because he moved to South Florida to play in warmer climates because physically his body couldn't take the punishment of playing in the cold and getting beat up like he did. So he came down to Tampa and definitely had a renaissance, won a Super Bowl. But at the end of last season, he looked physically cooked to me. He didn't play well down the stretch. He certainly didn't play well in the game against the Rams until, with the exception of a couple of big bombs at the end of the game when they tried that crazy comeback after they were getting smacked around pretty good. And yet he's going to come back again. There are already rumors flying. Somebody was out there saying that Tampa Bay will definitely trade him to San Francisco. Not sure 44-year-old Tom Brady would like playing in San Francisco with some of the wind and cold and damp weather that they get up there. Now, if you're wondering, he signed a contract extension before the 2021 season to lessen the cap number so that his cap number was small for 2021. He is got a $20.27 million cap hit, and if they were to trade him, as some people are positing, it would only save Tampa Bay a little over $5 million this year. If they were to trade, and that's if it was pre-June 1st. If it was designated as a post-June 1st trade, they would save over $12 million this year, and they would spread that dead cap, which would be $15 million over 2 years. I can't see any way in the world that Tom Brady agrees to be traded because Tampa Bay still has all these wide receivers, still has a lot of talent. They do have to replace one of their best offensive linemen because Ali Marpet retired, and for me that's a huge consequence for them and a huge hole that they've got to fill. But Tom Brady's coming back, and because of that, there might be some other players like Rob Gronkowski who decide to come back, and Tampa Bay would be right back up there among the favorites. And all that's fine, but again, tomorrow is the new league year in the NFL. And teams can start legally tampering with free agents, and that's when the real craziness in the NFL begins. And he could have saved it for tomorrow, and been just as got as much attention and been the big story. But no, typical of the NFL, and I have no doubt the NFL told him to do this.
No, you're not to do anything until I tell you to. Understand?
Because he would have had to inform the NFL first, because when you retire, you have to actually have to put papers in saying that you're retired, because that affects the salary cap and all these other things. And you go on a list of players that are retired and that sort of thing. Usually you stay on there unless you're Brett Favre or, in this case, Tom Brady. So I have no doubt whatsoever that the NFL, as soon as they got the word from him that, you know what, I'm kidding, I was just kidding, I'm retired, I guarantee you he told the NFL, said, why don't you announce that Sunday night we'll hijack all the attention away from the NCAA tournament, men's and women's, because as I record this video, the women's bracket is getting revealed. And that'll be great for the NFL, because that's what the NFL loves to do. That's why the new league year starts tomorrow, because they can take away, they want to dominate every day in the calendar if they can.
Yeah, nigga, run your shit.
And however they can, and however they'll do it, they'll do it. And one of the ways they do it is, it's why the new league year starts in March, because they want to take away attention from college basketball and people filling out brackets and all that things, because that's the big thing this time of year. And the NFL can't stand it. The NFL just can't take it. They have to be number one. They have to be the sport everybody's talking about. So here we go. We get Tom Brady on what is my favorite sports day of the year when the NCAA men's basketball bracket gets revealed. He comes out and says he's unretired, and they even interrupted the show on ESPN to talk about it while they were supposed to be talking about which team's going to do what and who they think's going to win and who is the potential bad matchup and all that other stuff. Screw you, Tom Brady. You are an attention whore, and you are an attention whore for yourself in the NFL. And not that I would cheer for you anyway. I now want the next year to be a disaster for you just for this. You couldn't have waited, another 12, 13 hours. It would have been the perfect way to kick off the new league year is to have Tom Brady 8 or 9 in the morning say, you know what, I'm coming back, and have everything. I mean, there would already be a lot of attention on the NFL as it is because of the fact that free agency is about to start, but they just couldn't help themselves. And he kissed my grits for doing that. And the heck with him, and I don't like him. And if he comes back to Tampa, I wish doom and terrible, terrible things on him in Tampa as a result.
It's time to stop!
It's just classic NFL. It makes me despise the NFL in a lot of ways, especially the people that run it for that, because they don't realize that for everything there is a season, and they just do not need to be in the forefront of everybody's mind all the stinking time. But they can't help themselves. They're going to do that. And screw them for doing that, and screw him. So Tom Brady's back, and boo on him as far as I'm concerned for doing it, especially today. If he'd have done it tomorrow, I'd have been a little bit less annoyed, but I would have almost understood it. But doing it tonight, literally not even an hour after the NCAA bracket's been revealed, it's just classic. It's classic from the NFL to do that, and I have no doubt that he was put up by the NFL to do exactly that. And that makes me dislike him and dislike them. So that's it. Short little video. Tom Brady's back. Let the speculation begin. I find it kind of a nonsense that he would be traded. He plays in Tampa for a reason. They're still pretty loaded, especially if he's coming back. And from San Francisco's perspective, since they talked about San Francisco, they gave up a lot to get Trey Lance and then didn't play Trey Lance last year. It does not make a lot of sense for them to have another year of not playing Trey Lance, because you only get a rookie quarterback cheap for 4 years, really, because the 5th option year is a lot of money usually. And the advantage of having a cheap rookie quarterback is exactly that. You can build up the rest of the roster around him, and if he's really good, like Russell Wilson, you can win a Super Bowl and maybe go to another Super Bowl, because you have a very stacked roster around a quarterback making a lot of money. And to go 2 years in with a first-round quarterback that you traded all these assets for and not have him see the field or hardly see the field at all does not make practical sense. So if San Francisco does it, maybe they would, because of the whole Brady's from that area and he's a 49ers fan growing up and all that. It might make sense for 1 year because they got to the conference championship and they can sit here and say they're a contender. It does not make sense long term, and it would be silly, and I don't think they should do it. So that's it. Short little video there. Brady's back. Screw him and screw the NFL for doing it on bracket night. And until next time.
That's it. We're done, right?